Test 6 review. Our order starts with the number 4. Number 4 question says convert 4i plus 7i to polar coordinates. Write the 4 forms of this point. 4i plus 7i is the same as looking at to the right 4 up 7. Okay, they're x and y, huh? Well, it is j, but it's not going to change anything. So, sorry, j. All right, so we're going to the right 4 up 7, which is going to put us in the first quadrant. Okay. Okay, and as I make my right triangle, okay, what I'm seeing first is 4, then 7, and because we are doing 4 polar coordinates, okay, I need a hypotenuse. I need 2 positive hypotenuses, hypoteni, and 2 negatives. I'm going to also need, because I'm going to go ahead and set this up for myself, I need 1 positive for each positive hypotenuse and 1 negative for each negative hypotenuse. Okay, does that make sense? I'm going to go ahead and split that so we're not getting too confused there. The first thing that I need is I need to know the hypotenuse. I'm going to do that using 4 squared plus 7 squared equals c squared. 16 plus 49 equals c squared. 55 equals c squared. Square root of 55. 7.42. 7.42. Let's see. That does not appear to be correct, because I've got 8.06 on my paper. Yeah, that probably is our problem right there. Okay, because I was just listening to Michael. Michael Pipes, everyone. Just 65. 65 equals c squared. Square root of 65. Okay, 8.06 is c. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put 8.06, 8.06, 8.06, 8.06. Okay? So we're halfway there, right? We got half our box, or got half our positions filled in. We just need 8 numbers, right? 8.06 is half of them. All right, the next step. Next step is tangent, inverse tangent is going to give me my degree of my reference angle. Opposite, yes. Opposite over adjacent is 7 over 4, but I need the inverse tangent, and I need to make sure my calculator is in degree mode. Sometimes I say it because it does get switched back. We're going to go with 60.25. 60.25 degrees. And because that actually is the answer for one of them in this case, it's not always our first one's not always our answer. Because it's in the first quadrant, though, it is our positive degree for our positive hypotenuse. Okay, so 60.25 goes right there. All right, so that gets me to there. Now let's go ahead and get the other direction around. So that would be this right here. So that's 360 minus 60.25, but we're negative. So I just have to apply the negative at the end. So 360 minus 60.25 should give me what? 299.75? 299, negative 299.75. I can't fit it in there anymore, but negative 299.75. The rest of this brings me to my negative hypotenuse. Okay? Okay, so if this is 60.25, then this is 60.25, right? Okay, because they're vertical angles. So what I'm going to do to get my positive degree is because I'm coming around like this, I've passed 180, and I've gone 60.25 degrees past it, right? So 180 plus 60.25 should be what, 240.25? All right, so 240, and that's positive 240.25. Okay, gets me there. And then I want the reverse. Okay, so that is 180, and I'm going to back it up 60.25. So 180 minus 60.25. Negative 119.75. Okay, and that's it. It's just that easy. Right? With just 12 easy steps, you too can know how to do polar coordinates. Did that make any more sense than it made before? Geneva says no. You finally got it? Okay. All right, so that question requires primarily those 4 parts. Okay? All right, number 9. Number 9, convert to rectangular coordinates. This by far is the easier of the two things between the conversions. So we have 3, which is my hypotenuse, negative 125 degrees. That negative 125 tells me that that I'm going to want, in the end, I'm going to want the opposite quadrant. Okay, so negative 125 degrees means I'm going clockwise. Okay, so I'm coming out here someplace, correct? Okay. Okay, this is 125 degrees. Okay, so I still need the reference angle, right? So that's the difference between 125 and 180, which is what? Right, 55 degrees. Okay, so this is 55 degrees here. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, no, we do want this. We do want this position. If this had been a negative 3, we would have wanted the opposite position. Okay? All right, sorry about that. All right, so we need the x. All we need now is the x and the y values. Now, here's the thing that you want to be sure of. My x is going to be negative and my y is going to be negative. How do I know that? Because we're in the third quadrant and both those values, I'm to the left of the y-axis, so my x value is negative. I'm below the x-axis, so my y value is negative. Okay? So let's look at it from this perspective. Okay? I've got 55 degrees for my reference angle. I know that my hypotenuse is 3. All right? So which trig function would I use to solve for x? Cosine. Now, remember how we said cosine was x, right? Cosine is what we use to find x. Okay, so cosine 55 equals x over 3, or 3 cosine 55. What is 3 cosine 55? Okay, let me see if I can find my answers to some things here. Okay, 1.72. And so I'm going to get negative 1.72i. Okay? The reason that I didn't worry about, plugging that in as I can't make that x negative in my calculator. I have to identify it. It is going to be negative. So whatever number I'm getting in my calculator, because I know where the position is, my calculator doesn't, I have to put in the negative for that 1.72. Okay? Now, for the cosine, right? That's which trig function? Sorry, for my y value. Sine, right? Remember how sine was y? So sine is what we use to find y. So we have sine equals what? Sine 55 equals y over 3. Okay? Question? No? All right, so we multiply by 3, so 3 sine 55 equals what? Positive or negative in what I'm writing down? Negative 2.46 J. So this is my answer. That they're not important. No, don't need them. Don't get wrapped up in it. Okay. All right. Does this make a little bit more sense? No? Okay, moving on then. All right, after 9 was 16. 16. So this gives you x squared plus y squared equals 4. And x squared minus y squared equals 2. Okay? Let's see, 16. This may be way easier than you guys are making it out to be, but the first thing that you have to understand is what is going on here. This is a hyperbole. This is a circle. Okay, so what you're getting is something that looks like this. Okay, so how many coordinates am I going to end up with? 4, yes. Okay, now the nice thing about this is that I can solve this using elimination. Okay, what gets eliminated here? Y's get canceled out. So what is x squared plus x squared? 2x squared, what's 4 plus 2? 6, divide by 2. X squared equals 3. All right, we're going to square root, and when we do, we get x equals positive and negative square root of 3 because the x squared is being squared. Okay? So I'm going to wind up with an answer for, I'm going to wind up with 2 answers for a positive square root of 3 and 2 answers for a negative square root of 3, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug back in for x squared. Okay? So let's start off, if we put in back in, let's just put it into the top. We've got square root of 3 squared plus y squared equals 4. Okay? What's this positive square root of 3 squared? Or 3, right? And that would be the same thing even if it was negative, correct? Okay? So we got 3 plus y squared equals 4. Subtract 3, good. Y squared equals 1. Square root, and so y equals what? Plus or minus square root of 1. So my 4 answers are these. I can get a positive square root of 3 with a positive square root of 1. I can get positive square root of 3 with a negative square root of 1. Okay? I can get negative square root of 3 with a positive square root of 1. Or I can get negative square root of 3 with a negative square root of 1. Okay, and if I look through here, hopefully that's what I've got for all. Oh, hold on a second. Because the square root of 1 is what? 1. All right, so I don't need the square root. I can just write that off as 1. Sorry about that. So you go down through. Okay, these are just 1s, 1, negative 1, negative 1. Okay, a little sloppy there, but hopefully we get some sense out of that, right? Okay. All right, what was this, 16? 17? Simplify. Okay, we've got x minus y times xy to the negative first plus x to the negative first y all to the negative first. Okay, so we got x, y. Let's see, this is going to be x to the negative first, y to the first, plus x to the first, y to the negative first, right? So what this is x minus y. And I'm going to rewrite this as a new fraction where I have y over x plus x over y. Do we understand how I got that? No. Okay. All right. Do we understand how I got this row? right? We multiplied the exponents by the outside exponent. Right, because this x is to the negative 1, I can drop it below the division bar. That y is positive, it stays up top. This x is positive, stays up top, y drops down to the bottom. Okay, now in order to combine these things, what do I have to have? All right, so I'm going to multiply by y over y and by x over x. So I'm getting x minus y times y squared plus x squared over xy. Okay? Now I'm multiplying. This is all over 1, by the way. Okay? I forget. You thought what? This is not that. This is not that question. Okay, so yeah, now we would distribute, and so that would take place through foiling, correct? Okay. Let's see. So across the top, we've got x times y, so that's going to be xy squared. We've got x times x squared, so that's going to be positive x cubed. Right? And then we have, what, negative y squared. Let's see. And then negative x squared y all over xy. Oh, here. Yep. Okay, why is this different than what I have here? Oh. Well. We're going to take a great big step back. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're going to set this up like this, where we have x over y plus y over x to the negative first. What that's going to result in is 1 over, we're going to end up dropping everything down because this is to the negative first. So x over y plus y over x, okay, which we should already know from here, right? This is x over x. This is y over y. So we've got x minus y. And I apologize because I know everybody's frustrated. That's x squared plus y squared over xy. Okay, so that's 1 over 1, so I wind up with, let's see. Because of this fraction, this would move over here. So I wind up with x minus y divided by the reciprocal. We're left with xy times x minus y on the top and x squared plus y squared on the bottom. Sorry. Did that make any sense? Some? Yeah, let's move on. All right, what was that, 17? We've done a total of 4 questions. Oh my gosh. 20. How much water should be added to 414 ounces of a 21% alcohol solution to get an 18% alcohol solution? Okay, so we have 21%. We have 414 is our amount. We want it to equal 18%. We know that we're going to add an amount to it. We just don't know what it is. And the amount that we're going to add to, or that's being added to, is 414. So the first off, we want 0.21 times 414, which should be 86.94. We got 0.18x plus 74.52. You guys are hopefully confirming those numbers. Okay, subtract 74.52. Should get 12.42 equals 0.18x, divide by 0.18, divide by 0.18, and I should get 69 equals x, or x equals 69, and I think that what they're looking for is ounces. Okay, hopefully that comes out a little bit better than number 17. Number 1, the sum of the digits of a two-digit counting number is 11. So I like to start with the small, so that's, can't do 1 plus 10, so we have to do 2 plus 9, right, equals 11. So that number is 29. We'd get 38. You'd get, 47, 56, right? Those are the four numbers that will add up. So 29, 38, 47, 56 have numbers or whose digits add up to 11. When the digits are reversed, the new number is 9 more than the original. So is 92 minus 29, is that number 9? I don't think so. So you're probably looking at things that are fairly close to each other. I would try 65 minus 56. What's 65 minus 56? 9. All right, so the question is, what was the original number? The original number was 56, not 65. Look at what they're asking for. You put 65 on your test, you're going to be wrong. Even though you've got everything there, right, look at what it's actually asking for. Okay? All right, number 3. Graph the following sets on a real number line. All right, so absolute value of x plus 1 is less than 2. So x plus 1 is less than 2, and x plus 1 is greater than negative 2. Okay, so x is less than 1. X is greater than negative 3. So on a real number line where we've got this, I got negative 3. I got 1. They're open. And I'm falling between these two things. Okay, that's that first part. Do we understand how to solve an absolute value equation? Then we're going to do the same thing with b on the, on that 3b, we got x plus 1 is greater than 2. So it's going to be the same thing, except what you should wind up with is the reverse. It's going to end up at those points, but going out the other directions. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, now you would still want to show your work for the second graph, but do we understand how to show a graph for that? Okay, let's see, that was 3, we need what, 6? 6 is factor. Okay, so we got 27 x cubed y to the 6th minus 8d to the 9th. We want the cube root of this, so the cube root of 27 is 3, cube root of x cubed is x, cube root of y to the 6th is y squared, minus the cube root of 8 is 2, cube root of d to the 9th is d cubed. All right, so I wind up with this. My formula is f minus s times f squared plus fs plus s squared, so I just follow that from here on. So I get 9x squared y to the 4th plus, what 3 times 2 is 6, xy squared d cubed plus 2 squared is 4, and d cubed squared is d to the 6th. That's my answer. Those are a lot easier once you find out what is going on. Let's see. And then B gives you, let's see, I've got to find it here, x to the 4a minus y to the 4b. Okay? All right. So what this looks like, oh gosh, okay. So we should get something like this. We got x to the 2a minus y to the 2b plus, and then times x to the 2a plus y to the 2b. And then I can factor this one down again. Okay, so as I come down, right, do we understand how I got from here to here? It's a sum difference. Okay, but so isn't this one here on the left a sum difference. So that is x to the a minus y to the b times x to the a plus y to the b. And then I bring this one down again, x to the 2a plus y to the 2b. And that's your answer right there. Okay, let's see, that got us to what? 6. So we covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, look into the review document, the document that you graded from for the rest of them. And if you still have questions, email me, and I'll try to help you out. Okay? All right.